for the face-off. Gentlemen, welcome to the face-off. We'll get started with Rude Awakening. Rude, your team that you just threw together for this season, man, is all the way here at the playoffs. What do you have to say for yourselves as far as your journey here so far?
We worked hard. We practiced hard. We practiced well recently. We've improved a lot over the last 2 months, and we're ready to go.
And you think you guys are ready to take on Elevate at the finals?
Yeah.
Yeah,
we are.
All right. And then on the other side, Rox.
Mr. Man, so you guys last season, you kind of famously came into the playoffs and you lost to the 6th seed. This time you have a little bit better positioning, but you have to play top tier, a team that has been giving a lot of people trouble. What have you guys done differently? What have you guys done to prepare? And how do you feel you're ready right now? Do you guys think you're there?
Yeah, we definitely do. We've been preparing a lot. We kind of assumed that was going to be top tier based on the who played who. We thought that we were going to be facing them in the playoffs, so we've been preparing for a while for this match.
All right, so compared to last time that you guys were here, this is Mr. Man. Last time you guys were here, you got upset. What have you guys done to change or shore up those weaknesses? Those little things that let an opponent just run away with a match that you otherwise should have under your control?
That's kind of been something we've been working on all season, and in the beginning of the season, we still had some of those problems, but we've been progressing throughout the season. I think we're finally being more consistent.
All right, you guys are ready to go. So, last question for Rude Awakening. Rude,
so throughout the whole season, you just said that you felt like you've improved a lot over the last few months. What is the one most important thing that you feel that you guys have improved upon since the start of the season?
Comms.
Yeah.
Very simple.
Comms.
They're crisp and clean,
Yep.
aren't they? Squeaky clean.
They're getting better. Obviously, when we're in a serious situation, I expect our comms to be top notch today.
All right, we'll be sure to check on that, Rude. All right, final words, Mr. Men. Anything?
Good luck. Have fun.
All right, Rude. Anything else before we see?
I'll see you guys at the LAN.
All right, thank you guys for that one. That's confidence. We'll see you on the battlefield. For a moment, it didn't click for a second. I realized, okay, he just said he'll see you at LAN. All right, That's confidence. That's the way you go to a face-off. You go up to your opponent and you say, oh, yeah, congratulations.
Super cold,
I'm
calm.
super sorry. My condolences for the loss you're about to suffer. And that might throw him off.
Yep, just super calm, cool, collected, just ready to go. That's just kind of how Rude Awakening rolls.
Yeah, he's in control. That's just how I feel like he is. He's one of those people that seems like he's consciously in the moment all the time, just aware of exactly what's going on. He's not dwelling on something else.
And you see that reflected in his college style as well.
Yeah.
Because he's able to just predict things, read things that he hasn't even spotted, said this is probably here, this is probably there. And we've heard him time and time again where he's called out different things. And then we look at our screen, they're like, well, they're right there, right where he said they'd be, and he has no reason to know this is there. So I guess he's just psychic.
He does and he doesn't, right? It's that once you're good enough and you understand your opponent well enough and you just see these little things happen, you start to be able to put together the big picture, especially when you're doing it every day.
Well, a combination of your previous experiences, you're doing your homework, studying videos and whatnot, and then just process elimination. You can, like you said, you can put those puzzle pieces together even if they have no real shapes to them. You can kind of figure out what goes where.
Yeah, because it's like you look at the lineup first. You see, okay, my opponent has brought these tanks. The options my opponent has for strategies are then limited by those tank choices in many ways. And then you just say, okay, well, what can they do that's actually going to be effective? Do something about that. Or what can I do to make sure my opponent is then kind of just dragged around like a 3-year-old on a kitty leash, Like, I'm going to make you do things. You're not going to take me anywhere around this. That's what you do when you start to understand. Then, just like you've seen Rude do, especially on Pro Rovka in one special instance, you break it down for your team. Just piece by piece, right?
Yep, you have to just take it. You have to put everything out. You have to say, this is what I think is going on. This is what we're going to do and why. And that paints a picture for the whole team to understand, so you're all on the same page.
Yeah, because if you just tell your guys push forward, they might go, okay, we're pushing forward, but what happens at the fork in the road, right? The proverbial fork in the road.
Yeah, you have to give them as little doubt as you can. They have to know that you've thought everything through, and they should know what to do in different cases. And if you've thought of every little contingency, you'll say, all right, if they have a tank up here, this is what we're going to do. And he's so good at just outlining all those little contingencies, thinking things all the way through, and not just thinking one step ahead, but thinking 2, 3, 4 steps ahead, and really reading their opponent.
Yeah, and I really feel like we can't harp on it enough. Clear and clean communication changes everything. If you make the same call but you stutter over and stumble over your own words, it's going to your team is just not going to perform as well.
Yep. Well, let's find out if top tier and aquatic M60s are here to perform today as we head into our first map of the series.
Himmelsdorf, a small city map. The teams start the battle in opposite corners. Both bases are located close to each other, but in a way that you can't stay on the defensive all the time. The main attack routes pass through the hill, the alley and the railroad, but in general, the attack can be successfully executed through any part of the map. Heavy tanks and tank destroyers with powerful guns run the show here. However, a lot depends on the mobile light tanks.
And here we go. Top tier at 113, 3 mouses, a Batchat, a JPE 1390. Meanwhile, aquatic M60s, 250Bs, 3 mouses, an Object 263, and an AMX 1390.
All right, so that 263 choice. How many of those have we seen this season? Have we seen?
I don't think we've seen any. I'll tell you in a second.
I thought we've maybe seen 1 or 2. I can think
out.
maybe obscurely, but this is a tank which we haven't seen much of, and I'll have to.
We haven't seen it at all this season.
Yeah, this is it. That Object 263, also painted, by the way, with the aquatic M60s camo, which looks much like you took a hole puncher and you then spilled
Well, you
it.
know what it reminds me is the little paint dots the kids have, little cans with the caps on them.
That's what, I'm thinking of, like the hole puncher, the same kind of concept. It's just
Right.
that when you punch holes out of like paper to put to a 3-ring binder, and then you spill that everywhere, and it seems to never go away. You can always find one more little tiny freaking piece of paper, right?
It's like confetti.
Yes.
Never goes away. And that 263, since it got the HD buff, armor got a little bit buffed. The gun mantlet around the gun there got a little bit smaller, so it's harder to hit, especially at range. And this 263, something that's horrendously underrated about it, is its shell velocity. It is a laser. And it is such a great tank in the right hands.
And look at this. Felix just whips his mouse around. We're looking at the POV right now, where we can see the way what the players are actually looking at, which way they're looking. Even if they right-click to hold their turret in one direction and look another, that's what you're seeing. And so Felix, I can tell right now, he just whips his mouse around. He just flicks it. He doesn't smoothly drag it or anything.
And Rude's going to get caught out.
Oh, no!
And he gets deleted.
Oh!
The triple tap by the mouses.
Out of nowhere. And that's going to be it. Okay, that's a tank down that did not need to go down early on. But it's not over. Top tier didn't lose something that's
simply a 1390
exactly,
on defense.
On Himmelsdorf.
It's not. It's unfortunate, but not insurpassable.
Exactly. Of any time that Rude Awakening could go down in an unexpectedly swift fashion, this is the ideal. Like, as far as bad situations go, this is something top tier can recover from, especially on defense, right? So aquatic now has that small lead. This is great for them. It's an opening. They're going to be able to get into the north side of the map, possibly pressure the 2-cap, and from there see what comes, right? But take a look at top tier. Look at the ways their tanks are already laid out. Look at the south side and notice how there's a flank waiting to happen. And you'll see that it's Delph, and I'll jump over there. Delph in the 113 is way down south right now. He can move in and flank. Same with X-Soldier in the Batchat. Now, what's also something I see happening, and tell me what you think of this, Rox, are we going to see a counter push from that 1390 of Marsh combined with Dark Ninja in the 50B? Because I see them right now moving and getting out there. Dark Ninja even going all the way onto the K line in the far south.
Well, and I like this because this is simply a hammer and anvil strat. It's using the 3 mouses as your pivot. They had them in the south where they controlled the hill. Once they got the mouses up, now they're swinging the light tanks back around the other direction.
And here we go. Marsh is in the open. He's spotted. Gets hit for 424. And then Dark Ninja moves in to try to return fire, but Del slips out of the way just in time. So a little free damage right there onto Marsh. He's not going to be as durable going into the next fight. And there's a shell wasted for one of the 50Bs. And there we go. Dark Ninja takes a shell also from the north. So solid crossfire here from top tier, putting out a little about 1,500 hit points of damage and not taking a lot in return yet. So good
Bales needs to be careful because Pompous is lurking at the end of that alley.
He
too far.
He doesn't realize what he's walking into.
And he look at how he's playing the angle. He knows that something's down there. He's making sure not to expose to it, not to go too far. And Pompous actually has no interest in it. He's turning around and he's leaving. Unless he's trying to get some distance to get out of draw range, it looks like he's just going to be heading to the north.
Yeah. A good play. This is the right thing for top tier. Don't stick around, because the more time you spend in the south there, the better a chance is that a better counterplay from Aquatic will come in. They control the south. They're able to flex there a lot easier in covering. On the other side, top tier wouldn't be able to bring in that support. So pulling out's a good idea, and let that delay be what it was. Now, Bales is going to peek against X-Soldier, and then Dark Ninja shows up, but unfortunately, the damage just isn't there yet. The connections haven't come in. And just more shells being wasted, X-Soldier getting out the damage he wants to.
Really sloppy trades by Aquatic M60s, having to reload these batch hats once again, and they've only done one shot of damage to X-Soldier. Meanwhile, the trade's going on in that north cap. Mr. Man and Veggie both taking some damage. The 263 hasn't really been able to get too many shots into here, but I expect to see him creep forward pretty soon.
And that tank destroyer, Felix, gets tracked, actually, taking no damage yet. He's going to start moving up.
Feeling Potato bounces shot from Pompous in that JPE.
And I'm seeing even some action looking like it's winding up in the south. We'll check on that in a moment if it becomes more relevant. But right now I'm thinking the cap pressure in the north is one of the most vital moments for us, as X-Soldier, yes, it does look like he's taking some damage down there. Jump down and see what's to catch up on. Yeah, X-Soldier's about to go down, and a bounce off his backside lets him not quite get in that last shell. It's Dark Ninja.
Bales is down to a one-shot all of a sudden. Bounces another shot, and Marsh, trying to get into the act, gets one more shot for 204. But now both these 50Bs are reloading, and Delph only has a moment to take advantage of it.
Yep, and will he be able to get out a significant amount of damage is my big question. He's not finding anything at all, though, and this is not good. We might see Delph completely stranded as there. Bales throws one little shell out there. Dark Ninja catches him with another, and now the crossfire. Delph is going to be taken down.
And finally, good teamwork there from Aquatic M60s. Bales, someone we talked about earlier, needing to step up and perform. And he is doing great so far after that first volley. And now Pompous on cap as well, trying to get the shot off. Nits trading in exchange there.
And exits. I'm liking the way that he's playing this, but it's tricky. He's out in the open. He's exposed. He's trying to get some work done, but solid connections here and there.
Felix in this 263 is going to creep in. He's going to square off with Pompous. Doesn't get the penetration on his first shot.
And Aquatic is looking like they should be able to take this if they can keep the slow play going. They just need to deal with damage.
And another bounce onto that 263. That armor coming in huge there.
I did not realize it would be that effective. I think we've all really underestimated the 263 and how bouncy it can be now.
And another pen there. That laser cannon going straight through the JPE superstructure.
That's 600 damage, right?
Yeah.
And
it's a 560 alpha gun.
And that hits harder than a lot of heavy tanks you see out there. That's why this is a good choice. And it's able to hold down its own lane, deal plenty of damage. There goes exits. Pompous will be next. There he goes. And two more need to go down. Oh, Algaco before we even get to notice. And now Mariel is stranded all by his lonesome out on the west side. Oh, look at this. You got two caps going at the same time. Just taking it to the next level of just rubbing in your first win. This is, by the way, Aquatic M60s is about to ace top tier. This is no deaths in battle number one. That is a dominant way to start the series, guys. That is about as good as you could hope, isn't it?
Yep, and Felix going to come in here, actually bounces off the back of that mouse. Another penetrating shot there, and there you had to go and say something, Randall, because Merle picks up a kill onto Bales. Not a clean sheet, but good enough as Aquatic M60s get the first win of the series.
There we go. All right, that's that. That is the start you wanted to see from Aquatic. Top tier, Rude's going to have to get them back into gear because that was a loss on defense on Himmelsdorf.
But remember, like I said at the start of this, this was going to be a series of two maps that were going to go between these two different teams as far as it was going to be one-sided towards one and the other one's going to be one-sided towards the other. So you have Himmelsdorf should be favored towards Aquatic M60s early. This is to be expected. What's going to happen, though, is once we move on to the second map of Ghost Town, that should go in favor of top tier. If it doesn't, that's where we need to start worrying for top tier.
All right, so that's just a reminder, hey, this is expected. Top tier's just not good at the map generally. All right. I felt like they seemed to have a decent understanding. It's just strange they don't seem to be able to get that execution.
Yeah, well,
losing Rude Awakening, I guess, early on like that just kind of does give a little tell.
Well, and on the season, they played this map 24 times, but they only have a 40% win rate. where Aquatic M60s, they've played it 14 times, and they have a 60% win rate.
All right, so a little bit more experience on the map, but far less success.
Yep, and look at all the damage done this game. Even Mr. Man coming in there, 91 fantasy points. Not bad. Dark Ninja, top damage dealer for Aquatic M60s. Exits, top damage dealer for top tier. Pretty consistent out of those three. They're always some of the best performers on these teams. And Bales, another 2,200 in that 50B.
Not bad from Bales, especially in the new mouse meta. It's a little trickier to get the damage you want in a 50B. So every single 50B player that used to be able to rack up damage all day, every day, is now having to really work for it.
Yep, and Feel My Potato actually having a decent game there, 90 fantasy points. Most of that's because of the cat pressure. And then Rude Awakening, who got triple tapped by those mouses as soon as he came down that alley.
Oh, Pompous in the Yagpounds didn't get almost even 1,000 damage.
He bounced a lot of shots. I'll pull that up real quick.
That was against the 263 choice we saw, right?
Yeah,
that was
well, the
mostly
263. Pompous, he fired 4 shots, only had 1 pen, where Felix had 4 bounces for 2,500, so not bad there.
Yeah, so as we switch sides and we get ready for battle number 2, it's going to be top tier attacking, and Aquatic M60s now defending. Looking at the lineups, Rocks.
Top tier, a 50B, 3 mouses, a Bad Chat, an E4, and a 1390. Meanwhile, Aquatic M60s, 3 mouses, a Type 5, a Bad Chat, and 2 T95s.
All right, Doom Turtle defense. And we'll see where those go. Where they chill out is going to be important, because look at this. If we saw Type 5s, there's a way to deal with a T95. You just shoot the roof, deal good 400 or 500 damage, carry on with your day. But with Mouse, yes, you've got the elevation, you can fire into the hatches just fine, but it's going to be a little trickier, especially at longer ranges.
I agree completely. And that Mouse, the other thing to remember is at range, the T95 has to shoot up into the Mouse, so that's going to add extra angling to that Mouse's turret that T95 is going to have to deal with.
Yep. And you know what? As this one's getting started, Rockstar, we're seeing the layouts go. Top tier looks like slight aggression towards the hill, just taking control more than anything, and we're going to see pressure on the 1-2 line, the west side, where we're going to see probably plenty of sniping. Now, what I want to do is I want to take a moment and listen in with top tier. Listen in with their comms and see what's going to what they kind of are going for as this battle is starting off.
I think something is just crossed. Something else besides the field that my potato fired.
That jet's up here. It's trying to counter me.
Okay. Nice. Okay, that's fine.
I'm going to force.
All right, no problem. All right, Mosses, remember, if you're going to cross that, you're going to get lit, okay?
I'm going to just stay here and
they're blind.
spell
They're
the
fucking light that shit, please.
Okay, here we go. There's one.
Still there.
There's one. Nice shot. Okay. I can relay
There's a mouse on both sides.
We're not going 1-2 line right now.
There's a mouse on both sides?
There's 2. Yeah, there's a mouse on both
That's
sides.
fine,
One's hitting the horse
There's nothing on C5.
Could you control the 1-2 line? Can you control the 1-2 line bat? Their bat is over here. Listen, we can take these mosses, move up through here, take control of the courtyard, and get these guys into a crossfire.
They don't have anyone on this line at all. We can just take it. We can just push right the fuck up.
Yeah, but I want some crossfires created. So E4, see if you can come up over here and create some crossfires, because we're probably gonna need to get this guy.
Roger.
Yeah.
You sure you want me down there? That limits my... Okay.
Yeah, just initially, just to see what you can spot, okay?
Because me and Delph can actually kill a mouse together. With Rude.
Yeah. Alright, Moss, let's go ahead and take the courtyard. What we're going to do after we take the courtyard is we're just basically going to control the 5 line, okay? I want to make sure, I want to know where their bat is. Ideally, like, that's what
I think he ran to the 1-2 line to spot. He might be in the bush.
He might be at C1.
There's something shooting down right here. Right on the corner.
Okay.
Is that us, or is that them?
No, that's them.
Of course it's them.
Okay. So, Pompous, you're going to create that angle there. We're going to need at least Miro to watch down the 5 line, okay?
So the bat's not poking here anymore, so pretty sure he ran.
There's a moss there.
Clipping.
I think our mice are lit too.
Let's get
Pompey's
both
in
of
pick
our
right now.
mice to
Pompey's in
work
pick.
that. Yeah. Well, no, Pompous isn't the pick. What are they going to pick him with?
Moss.
Maybe.
I don't want to get stuck out
Pompous,
here.
can you back off?
Just like
a
stay
little bit?
back.
And go
Yeah,
where?
Stay back. Just like stay back here. Stay back here. Help us control the courtyard, okay?
Wait until we see the bat, and then you can move up.
Okay.
The bat's on the A line, okay?
Yeah, he's gonna be on.
I have a feeling he's back here, like A1, B2.
Yeah, I think. Yeah, that's what I thought. I don't think he's like close.
You know, I don't think he stayed there. There's no reason for him to.
Maybe Rude can go on the 1-2 to spot.
Yeah, let me go check the 1-2, okay? We have 6.5 minutes.
I just don't want to get stuck there, Rude. That's
fine. You're good. You're good.
I'm gonna get darker.
By the way, Pumps, I'm not really spotting this side of there, so you could be side scraping out basically.
Yeah, there's no
Could I get at least one loss near Pompous so he's not gonna get clipped by a bat? Because if the bat is there, we're fucked.
I can cross, but I could pick
Pompous,
up
get in the cover of where you can be covered by Moss. You're a pick.
How about I just get close to him? A little bit closer.
No, I'm fine. Just keep trading with Veggie.
Well, no, you should still back off because.
I know, I am backing off.
I can just get on cap and apply cap pressure, boys.
Okay, yeah.
Yeah, just can you go?
I mean,
if you're watching Elan, I'm gonna look
I'm
at.
watching
Where's
you,
Veggie
Cross.
looking? Where's Veggie looking?
He's looking towards our bosses.
At us. He's still looking at us. That's suspect.
He's not moving.
All right. And there you could hear it, just a little high energy right there as Top Tier is trying to figure out what their options are, what their plan of attack will
A couple
be.
of their players definitely seem to be on edge a little bit.
I think
And
there's
understandably
nerves.
so.
There's nerves going into this one, definitely. You got the playoffs on the line. How many thousands of dollars, depending on how you finish this match?
Well, this match just decides whether or not you get a free ride to Burbank to come play in our live finals.
Or if your career for the season ends here, and you then go on to play for 5th or 6th place, and then find out, you're varying your end position right now. Winning this guarantees you at least 4th. Losing means you could drop to 6th. Difference of tens of thousands of dollars of prize money. Your entire season, up till now, has been playing for this moment, right? You're trying to earn your way into the best standings, giving yourself the best possible chance to get to the finals. Now, if you're Top Tier in Aquatic, you've kind of gotten to that middle ground. And so it's risky because you're playing a good team, a team about your level. And so this is very often one of the most stressful matches the entire season because it's not that you know you're up against a consistent performer like Elevate or like Eclipse. You're up against Aquatic M60s, a team that wants this just as much as you, or against Top Tier, a team which is a newer factor and is really competing with your level of play. Look, think about it from that perspective, right? Both of these teams are a little bit afraid, possibly even capable of underestimating and overestimating their opponent at the same time. That kind of stuff, you know?
And another thing to remember here is, look at this. It's 4 minutes left, and there's still 16,000 HP left for Aquatic M60s. The Top Tier haven't even begun to really chip through them, except for Felix, who's going to be caught out in the open here. He needs to be careful that he doesn't get tracked trying to make some plays there. These Mouses are going to have a field day with him. Luckily, he does have some backup.
Oh, and he will have backup. And look at the cap, though, for a moment. It's about to get reset, I think. Dark Ninja might be about to sneak a shell, barely missing on Rude Awakening. The pressure is actually mounting for Aquatic M60s to reset, as right now the attack is coming in, the pressure's coming from Top Tier, and if they can move soon, if they can really put the pressure on now, they may be able to actually successfully cap. No! The reset comes in 209 from Marsh in the Type 5, as he's sitting at 487, about to go down in that Type 5, and he will. Just in time to get a reset and give his team a little bit more time to hold on.
Yep, and just as we were talking about that, Felix snaps a shot off, and Top Tier looking good right now. They've chipped away at a lot of this HP in just over a minute. They went from being down 3,000 HP to up by over 2,000. So Batchat coming in here, X-Soldier using his flexibility, takes a shot from Dark Ninja, but he should be able to clip out Veggie here.
In just a moment, be able to put that final shell in there and clean it up. And with that, there are 4 tanks alive. Dark Ninja in the T95 somewhere goes down. Bales in his Batchat is able to pick up Delph, but he's stranded on the far side of the map. And this is a strong start. This is Top Tier, winning on attack on Himmelsdorf. And Rox, this really throws off our prediction model.
Yeah, definitely. So now M60s are going to have to go and perform on Ghost Town and get at least one win out of there to really stand a chance this series.
And just give it a moment more, and it should be able to clean itself up without any craziness. And you shall see what's going on. Bales is going to hide himself up on the high ground, trying to stay away. And just looking at everyone taking apart Mr. Man.
Cap getting down here to the final seconds. Looks like they're just going to take the cap. and that's going to be a win for Aquatic M60s. And now let's go ahead and check in with our social correspondent once again, Alex.
Hey, thanks, guys. So it's 1-1 right now, which means it's anyone's game to see who's going to come here and compete with the other 3 teams for finals. But let's take a break from that for a second and check on Twitter. We've got @WonderChef who's wondering, what are the teams playing for at finals? And the answer to that is a $325,000 prize pool, another incredible custom trophy, and an opportunity to compete at the grand finals in Moscow, which is kind of the most insane part of that whole thing. We've got @Meme1029 who wants to know, who are your favorite former Gold League teams? And for that, I'm going to kick it back to Randall and James. I know they have a lot to say about that.
Oh, good question, Alex. Okay, favorite team, you put me on the spot. Ermiger Kernevern, Simp. Back in the day, I was on Simp, so I got to kind of do that one for a little while. I had this weird love-hate thing where I love to just, like, give them tons of hate in a weird way. Yeah, people notice that, right?
Yep.
I used to just rag on them. What about you?
I definitely have to go with Fulcrum Fnatic back in the day. They were so good. Soviet, Nagatron. They were so much fun to watch, even on the 742 days. They made it enjoyable, and I loved rooting for them every step of the way. And speaking of rooting for people, Pompous doing 4,200 damage in that E4. Not bad there for top tier as they take a win off of Aquatic M60s.
An unexpected win is the main point to drive here. Look at the top performers. Look at where things went. The Type 5 from Marsh did not get to do what it needed to. Dark Ninja and Felix and the T95s were dealt with handily. I don't feel like they were able to be as effective as they've been when they were first reintroduced, right? First few matches that we saw them, people brought them back. It was unexpected. Players weren't prepared to deal with that, and so they had a little trouble. I feel like in this case, everyone knew how to deal with the T95s, no problem.
Well, in the way that the manner in which Aquatic M60s tried to use them, I think, was the biggest thing. They had them out in front, taking a bulk of the damage, and I don't think that's the greatest position. I think they're better off using support tanks out wide at range. I think is where they're stronger.
I certainly agree. All right, well, that's going to do it for now. We're going to go back into battle as we head into map number 2.
Ghost Town. The first absolutely symmetrical map, made especially for 7 versus 7 games. The teams start the battle on opposite sides. There are numerous ways to attack here. One of the bases is located in the central square, the other one at the top of the city. The hardest battles are usually fought for the top base, and this calls for the use of heavy tanks. Sometimes the teams choose fast tanks for spotting and base capturing.
And here we go into battle number 3. Top tier, 3 mouses, a T57, 2 Batchats, and a T54 lightweight. Aquatic M60s, 3 mouses, a Type 5, 2 Batchats, and a T54 lightweight as well. So the only difference between these two teams is the T57 versus the Type 5 of Mr. Man.
Oh, almost a mirror matchup, John. Almost. And I almost wanted to call you Josh.
I know, I was about to say.
I almost, you heard that, right? I was like, just not quite.
Josh, James, close enough.
And, well, it's going to be a nice slow rollout.
It looks like we're going to see one of the Batchats for Aquatic M60s do the climb. Dark Ninja, he's going to get up here at A1 into the high ground.
There we go. Nice normal stuff that we're seeing out of Aquatic. Top tier, though. Top tier's setting for a solid normal spread, getting into position. And right now it's looking like a very typical situation where we'll see some mouses maybe square off, a little 200-meter, corner games, as it were. Type 5 should be able to put one into Pompous or Hako fairly early on. We'll have to see if that one pays off with any critical damage. If so, we can see gun, even gas tanks and engine damage. If you actually fire a Type 5 shell into the top or into the front of a mouse turret, you can actually splash and damage the gun and also set the mouse on fire. So if you're actually in a Type 5, you don't worry about trying to find special weak points. You just shoot at the cheeks of the turret, and that's pretty much about as good as you can hope for.
Veggie takes 1,200 damage from exits in that T57 from across the courtyard.
Nicely played.
And exits takes a shot from, I believe that was Dark Ninja up at A1.
Yeah, Dark Ninja's actually sniping a few shells out there. He's able to get some connections outside of his draw range, by the way. He's not able to see those tanks. And he's able to just send himself on to reload. We'll see what other...
But when tanks are spotted, they appear on your mini-map. And if you have the right features turned on in your game settings, you can actually use the line on your mini-map, line it up with the tank on the icon, look at what's in front of you, and normally get off some pretty accurate blind fire. Now, hitting a weak spot in that case is extremely lucky, but if you can put enough shots on target, you normally get a couple penetrations in there.
Yeah, something will happen, or at the very least, you will distract your opponent and make them scared to peek out,
or give away your position as well. Now they know they have a bat chat up at A1.
Yeah, that's also true. It works both ways. I feel like it gives something away, but if you want to, you know exactly how to play off that. Oh, we just told them where our bat chat is. All right, well, what do you do because you told them where your bat chat is?
Veggie is taking all sorts of abuse down to 1,000 HP.
Oh, he is not having a nice time in that mouse. Not at all. That's less than fun for him. So, while he's getting chewed out, probably, the other side, top tier's doing okay. A little damage here and there, but nothing crazy. There's no one that's a weak point yet for the team. So there's no place for Aquatic to really counter push through if they wanted to do something like that. They're just going to keep holding on, and a top tier is going to be, I think, looking to kind of jump onto Veggie if they can find an opportunity. But it's going to take some time, I think, before something like that comes up.
And Mr. Man is trying to hold this angle, looking around. And remember, the Type 5 doesn't care about armor or angling or anything. He has those HE shells, so he can just do damage if he can find the connection. But top tier, very smartly, just not peeking that angle and not allowing them to trade.
And a lot of fire coming in from the hills towards Delph. None of it connecting, by the way. None of it. There's thousands of damage right now just being thrown against his mouse. And nothing is connecting. Just bounce.
We had one bounce there.
No, I just watched 6 or 7 of them bounce off of his front arm.
So they're connecting, not penetrating.
Yeah, that was what I was saying, wasn't it?
You said they weren't connecting.
They weren't.
But it's minor difference.
Connecting, you can... Connecting, bouncing, come on. You're cutting hairs for me, buddy.
Fair enough. Meanwhile, Dark Ninja, Bales, and Marshall pushing down the one line right now, trying to catch out these bat chats, but they're going to understand that this counter push is coming, and they're going to back out and regroup as Rude Awakening in that T-54 lightweight is going to be up on the north 1 cap.
The timing of this couldn't be better, I think, for top tiers. They should be able to leave one of their mouse behind, probably Delph, to hold off the T-54s and bat chats, while the rest of the group should be able to pressure the north, take down the 3 mouse up there, and I'm thinking probably start running away with this. This depends entirely on individual player skill and their ability to make the connections they need to. Or if the mouse can maybe just hold off some of that damage. We'll have to see. But this right now is the moment for our attackers, for our red team, for top tier, to get a cap in, get a win, start off Ghost Town on their terms.
Mr. Man gets connection for 332. A little bit low, even for that Type 5 HE shell. However, T-57 is going to come up, and he's going to find Mr. Man, and the push is going to come out from top tier. They're going to focus out Mr. Man, who just fired. He's looking for a shot onto one of these bat chats. He's going to get the connection here in a second. Only 649. He's going to go down. Veggie already dead, and Feel My Potato is going to be the next one lit up.
There we go. Keep the focus fire coming. The bat chats need to get out of this fight, relocate, and then wait for their reload. Now, T-57s, it's going to be important to keep them alive. There we go. Kill onto Feel My Potato and onto Felix. Nicely done by top tier, taking out the healthiest tanks on the side of Aquatic M60s just in time for the T-57s to reload and face a bat chats. Dark Ninja goes down. Now it's Bales and Marsh left alive.
And that's going to be a round win here in just a second for top tier. Doing great work this game, even though Akako still full HP.
And, well, there goes Marsh. Now it's Bales is the last one alive. Rox, I really feel like top tier had a strong read, and the reaction couldn't have been much better than what it was. This is a good, solid play. And, well, just good stuff. Rox, what do you think? What do you think?
I think they just got too disjointed there. They Veggie got chipped away, lost almost all his HP for basically nothing. And that, as you were saying, top tier didn't really give him any weak spot to go into. And M60s did the opposite. They gave him a tank basically for free, and once they saw that gap, they drove a bus straight into it, exploited it, and took him down. And amidst all that, Akako did another 2,600 damage. He was a real superstar for his team, not just this game, but he has been the whole season.
Yep.
Unfortunately for us, his camera, not quite the same quality as he is.
I personally hope this video quality was not so bad, because this is the best camera I got. So, have fun.
But here comes Akako in an IS-4, and he's going to be able to pick up drops.
I always like tanks. even as a child, I loved to listen to World War II stories, played with toy tanks, and read a lot of books related to World War II in one way or another. So when this game came out, it came out just in time for me to get hooked up on.
Now remember, Akako is also one of the best heavy tank players in the league as well, so two of the best squaring off there.
My favorite class is heavy tanks because I personally like to take it up close. Like I want to look my enemies in the eyes. My team is in playoffs because it has a needed personal skill, good color, and determination to do so. Every practice day is just like an actual match day. We take it seriously.
All right, Rox. That he certainly does need a better webcam or something. I'm sure with some prize money they're sure to earn, you could probably afford to pick something up.
Yeah. Well, I mean, right now they're on their way to getting at least 4th place if they keep it up, because they're 2-1 up right now over Aquatic M60s. Now, unfortunately, whoever wins this game has to go on to play Elevate in our live finals.
Hey, that's scary, but you know what? Just getting there is an achievement on its own. It's you're just seeing how high you can go. Top Tier's just seeing how far they can get, and so is Aquatic. Right now, though, it's looking like it's slightly in favor of Top Tier after a decisive action on Ghost Town. They read their opponent, they looked at the weak points, and they jumped on it exactly when they had enough intel to say, yes, this is the right decision. They executed well enough. Not losing, by the way, a single tank, Rockstar. That was an ace. That is just like last match where we saw Dare Rising, Ace 07, and the entire series turned around. This is one of those scenarios. This is where Top Tier can run away with the series if they have thrown Aquatic off. But if Aquatic can rally, that's the only thing I'm waiting for. They need to rally to stay in this one.
Yep, and Delph doing 3,700 damage in that mouse, getting 73 fantasy points. Pompous, another 3,600, another 77 fantasy points. And Akako, the mouse player, 2,600 damage. Not bad there. No one for Aquatic M60s really stepping up this game. Even Mr. Man in that Type 5 had 2 lackluster connections out of that HE derp gun from the Type 5.
Yeah, the Type 5s, it really looks like on paper, they look like a great tank. When you practice them around in pubs and stuff, they always perform well. But it seems like they're struggling to perform on the battlefield here with 7 versus 7.
Teams are doing a great job mitigating what Type 5s can do. As I pointed out, that they weren't exposing to him. The second they knew where he was, they were just staying off that angle because they didn't want to take any damage. And looking at it, Top Tier coming in here with 3 mouses, a Type 5 of their own, 2 Batchats and a T-54 lightweight. And I don't have to say any more because, Randall,
it's a mirror matchup. It's do, yeah. Drop the air horns, guys, because it's a mirror matchup. It's pure skill. It's all about who is the best with this exact lineup.
And M60 is now has
See, Pompous gets it. Pompous gets it. Pompous understands because they have wub turrets. Look at this. See this. This is how you can tell people are enjoying themselves. Exits, dancing turret. Pompous decided to stop dancing with his turret. These are the little things that entertain us at the beginning of a match.
There's not much else to look at. These mouses crawl into battle.
It's a little slow to start. You know, just is what happens.
Only weighs over 100 tons, no big deal.
Yeah, I mean, who cares? But it's kind of, they just glide along so gracefully. Float, actually, was the proper term.
Crush everything in their path.
I should actually note, it's the proper term to use is it floats, because of the way the suspensions work. Many tanks will actually have less ground pressure than you or I will.
Interesting.
So, yeah, we'll get to that later. The Chieftain has a wonderful bit about that. We can go look at that. But this is going to be the main push. X-Soldier starting to get aggressed on. That's Dark Ninja and Felix chasing him down, while Veggie and Marsh are going to move in against Aghako and into the crossfire, where Delph is going to get 625 into the side of Veggie's turret.
And Aquatic M60s are losing HP. Dark Ninja down to 28. He should get picked off here in a second. Damage going onto Felix as well. Meanwhile, Aghako out in front trying to block for Veggie. But the first pick actually is X-Soldier going down for Top Tier. And trades still going back and forth. Shots going towards Bales. Aghako finally taking some damage. Veggie's going to take a shot here for Pompous.
But Veggie's going to go down very soon, and he's played his role well as that main mouse out in front. Cover fire onto him was efficient, I'd say. And the Bad Jets off in the side, the southwest, not making as great of gains as Aquatic M60s really needed them to. Wondering if this is going to be a hold by top tier, or if Aquatic's going to be able to kind of push.
Marsh needs to get out in the open because he has 4 guns staring at him, including that Type 5, who gets the connection for 442. Exit's taking a shot in the background there, but Marsh finally going to get picked off, caught out in the open. 3,000 HP lead for top tier still, as they're comfortably on their way to their 3rd win of the series.
Yep, this is solid bounce from Feel My Potato on Dog Hawk. That hurts a lot. And yeah, this is going to be a solid hold. Strong attempt from Aquatic. Very easily could have tilted into the favor of Aquatic and become just kind of a landslide win. But right now, it's top tier is managing to hold on with 7,500 hit points to the now 2,600 of Aquatic M60s. This is just a matter of time. And this is going to be a closer series than we could have expected.
And something we haven't talked about, the second 2 maps. So, okay, let's theorycraft here, assuming that top tier closes out, which it looks like they should. Murvanka's a 1-to-1 map, so that'll make it 4-to-2. The last map of the series is going to be Mines, a map that Aquatic M60s have been near unbeatable on in the past.
Yeah, and that's probably hanging around inside of top tier's head. They're just kind of waiting to get there, hoping that they don't have to, but they will. Because guess what? We are going to see both battles of Murvanka. We are going to see at least one battle from Mines. At least one. And that's only if we see Murvanka go in favor to top tier or Aquatic for 2 battles. It has
to be a 1-to-1. Top tier just can't win both. Top tier win both. They're 2 rounds away right now from securing the 4th and final spot to the live finals.
Yeah, and if top tier wins 2 on Murvanka, which is doable, right? But not necessarily expected. Murvanka's 50% wins map for top tier. Their defense is solid. Their attack is needs work, but so does everyone's. But Aquatic M60s does perform a little bit better historically. About the same on defense, actually. Literally the same stats on defense. On offense, though, it's a little bit different. 28% of the 7 for Aquatic M60s, and then on the other side, 9 battles is a little bit less consistent for Aquatic on attack. So top tier might have some kind of an edge in some senses as we go forward, but not enough to say that they should be able to take the whole map. So right now, looks tough for top tier. This is a late game for Aquatic M60s, waiting for them to just finish this one out, catch their momentum where they wanted it to. And looking at the post-battle stats real quick, look at 5,000 damage from exits again. This is again? Didn't he do a sick amount of damage earlier in the series?
Pretty sure he did. I think that was Delph, but I'll go back and check. And then looking at it, the Type 5s both doing 2,800 damage apiece, but the reset points coming out for the Type 5 of Delph getting 54, edging him out there a little bit.
And this one, 3-1 for top tier right now. That's tricky. That's tricky to come back from because now Aquatic has to win.
Yep, Exits had a 3,700 damage game earlier, not quite 5K. It was during our first match where we saw, who was that? Durgel, I believe, had a great game in that mouse on Murvanka.
Yes.
6K.
You're right.
So we've had some huge numbers up today.
We really have. And I think that also has to do with the fact that we're seeing more mouse, we're seeing a lot heavier, healthier tanks running around. So you're going to see a slight increase on just damage overall. But it looks like it is time for our next battle. It's going to be battle number 5.
Murvanka, a map with a great number of buildings, bushes and trees, amongst which teams hide for most of the battle. The attacking team begins the battle from the top of the village, and the defenders start from the bottom of the map. Both bases are better controlled from the hill near the first base, and from the green in the lower left corner of the map. There are many attack directions. The attacking team often attempts to gain the attention of defenders by putting pressure on the first base, whilst manoeuvring several tanks behind the second base to deliver fire into the defending's flank. Team setups are very diverse, but the players often choose the fastest tanks, even for heavy setups. They could even bring SPGs.
And Randall looks like he just saw his childhood crush once again, seeing Pompous and the Centurion Action X, as well as a mouse, a T-57, 3 Batchats, and an AMX 1390. Meanwhile, Aquatic M60s, 3 mouses, 2 Batchats, and 2 Tier 9 bats. And one thing to note here, Veggie being dropped this round for Giggles to play that Tier 9 Batchat.
Yep. And just like my high school crush, looks like she goes the other way. And so Pompous is going to be on the east side. Thought Pompous was going to go west side, went east side. It just happens. You think things are going to work out, Rockstar, the way you want them to, and it turns out no chance. Not you didn't have a chance to start with.
First loves tend to be like that.
Yep. All right, moving right along. We've got east side from top tier. They're just going to set up a little bit of cover fire, preparing for that west side cap from Aquatic M60.
And this is very similar to what we saw earlier out of 07. However, top tier, Aquatic M60 is not as quick as Dare Rising were to get tanks on that cap.
Yeah, I'm getting kind of a deja vu feeling here. As
ha ha ha. And these two Batchats of Merles and X-Soldier getting in behind.
And it's cool. Exits, though, is all the way in the west. He's got cover on the cap. He'll be able to maybe get some resets, slip those in there. And we'll just have to see if Bales is going to be able to make his way into the southwest. If we see stuff like that, yeah, this should work out. But is this going to be a cap fast, is my question. Because Aquatic's already jumping on cap. There's a horde, just a mob of blue dots right now heading to the south. And Exits is on reload. He's super dead.
He got off what damage he could, and the mouse isn't going to be able to support him too much as these Batchats come screaming over the hill, and they focus him out. First volley goes in, second volley goes in and finishes him, and now they should wrap around. They'll have shots towards this mouse on the south, and look at the positioning of the mouses from M60s. They've turned around. They're looking for the north and from the middle, so it's going to be up to the Batchats from M60s to secure the south here, while these mouses look towards the north, and this is looking good for them so far.
So far, so good. Can we get a reset? X-Soldier is about to peek around. Spots, reset onto Felix, but still 13 seconds on cap. We need a reset onto Feel My Potato and onto Marsh, and that's going to be a bounce onto Feel My Potato. Looks like another one, but that's going to count for a reset, and we're going to get 20 seconds put back on the clock. We need to see one of the mouse go down. We need to see the kills.
And the mouses are going to choose to push forward. They're going to find the isolation onto Pompous. First shot goes off. He's going to try to get over the range. 900, 1400. Kill shot should come in from somewhere, but it looks like Pompous is going to get out. Muriel's still finding shots. Pompous still alive somehow, and HP's dead even.
Dead even, but look at the way the damage is spread. We've got focus onto Exits. He's completely gone, but there's so many tanks from Aquatic that are in a precarious position. 1, 2 little connections here or there could get the kill, and it's just going to need to be just one little connection or one tiny opening is where top tier can slip in and just try and take this apart, because as time goes on, Aquatic is just going to become more and more frail. They're just going to become slightly easier.
This is their last chance. 8 seconds, 9 seconds on cap. They need to find a reset. They're guarding Dark Ninja with their lives. 18 seconds, and now the resets have all come in. HP's being bled. M60s were looking good for a second, but top tier did everything right. They spread out the angles. Giggles is going to come around here. He should be able to clean out X-Soldier. HP's actually falling back slightly in favor of M60s.
Top tier had to take a lot of damage in order to get this, but look at it. 4,000 to 1,000 hit points, Rocks. This is it. Top tier has managed to hold. 6 minutes left, Rocks. They're holding on. Yes, Pompous and the Centurion Action X goes. Sure, we saw that coming. But Dark Ninja's dead. That's the cap gone. Mr. Man is it in the Batchat AP. He is it. This is the remnants of that attack. I got to give it to Aquatic. That was probably one of the most competent pressures on cap that we've seen in a long time. Maintaining pressure that had a clock of less than 20 seconds for a while. You couldn't see a mistake by top tier.
It was really hard for them to hit that Batchat who was in between 3 giant mouses. And so they got the cap pressure there. And Mr. Man going to go down to Delph. And that's going to make it 4-1 in favor of top tier. But now Aquatic M60s get to defend.
Yes, they do. They will get to defend on Murrow. That's a chance for this to turn around and for them to come back where they have to now win 2 in a row. 3 in a row, excuse me. They have to win 3 in a row, Rocks. That's hard. That's difficult. That's something that usually you if you're doing okay, example, top tier, as up behind you is up with 4 points, it's when you're already winning, continuing to win usually seems fine. But when you are losing, rallying at that point and getting back into control is what is one of the most difficult things to do. But look at Aquatic. It doesn't look to me like they're shaken. It looks like they're still focused on victory. But now they're on the burner. Now they can't mess up. They cannot lose anymore. This is done. This is top tier going to our live finals. This is Aquatic M60s falling short again if that happens.
Yep, and speaking of Aquatic M60s, Mr. Man has been relatively quiet tonight. Normally he's a superstar performer for them on the season. So definitely someone we need to keep an eye on. And right now, timeout actually coming in for M60s, so we're going to have another minute here.
Good call by Aquatic. They actually used their timeout. This is something 07 I don't think did much of last series, if you remember. And this is a good way to reset. Put the other team on ice, maybe cool them down a little bit more while you get a chance to reconnoiter.
And Delth having another huge game, 4,600 damage, 98 fantasy points. Pompous putting up good numbers, managing to stay alive. But X-Soldier, the real MVP that round, 120 fantasy points, getting some crucial resets while playing that 1-2 line. Even Rude Awakening got some big plays there, and at the end got some resets, 113 fantasy points himself.
Yeah, and so right now, here's what I want to kind of pose here is what can Aquatic do?
There was a couple misplays I saw that game. I like the overall strat, but they needed to continue on down further south, especially those bad chats, including Mr. Man.
Yeah.
And while we have a second here, while they're having this timeout, let's go ahead and take a second to get to know Mr. Man a little bit better.
My team is in the playoffs because we worked really hard. We won the games we had to win, and we improved throughout the season. In the beginning, we started off kind of slow, but towards the end, we definitely started to pick it up in the second round robin and got the wins where we needed to.
Mr. Man needs to make a shot here. They have terrible DPM, but as long as he makes this shot count.
I got started playing this game because a bunch of friends at my school at the time asked me to play, and ironically enough, I never actually played with them, but I enjoyed it a lot. I love this game for two reasons. First, I really enjoy history, especially like around World War II with all the tanks and stuff. I love being able to play those tanks, and secondly, because I'm a big FPS fan, and this game kind of took elements from a first-person shooter and put it into tanks.
All right, and that was Mr. Man telling us a little bit about, him getting started into tanks, what got him into the game in the first place. A lot of these guys have been around for a few years now. So while
more than a couple.
while we know them pretty well, it's easy to forget where they came from and that they started as a player just like anybody else in World of Tanks, just grinding out tier 1s,
Yep, exactly. Everyone had to start somewhere. And now we're finally ready for what could be our 6th and final battle of the series. Top tier are one round away from securing their spot to the offline regional finals. And let's take a look at the tanks they're going to use to try to do it.
All right, we're going to have top tier to start with a Mouse, 2 of them, 4 Bat Chats, and a Rude Awakening in the M4043. On Aquatic M60s side, we're going to have an IS-4 played by Felix, 1 Mouse, 3 Bat Chats, TVP, and Marsh 166 to take that RU1 or 251.
Rude Awakening opting for that M4043. I'm kind of surprised we haven't seen more Artie on this map recently, with the Mouses especially.
Well, taking a tank out of an Artie position means you've just got one less tank to throw around such a massive battlefield, right? Because this is a map where mobility is a huge factor. Not the only factor, and certainly a lot of the time people weigh a little bit much on it. So it's about deciding, are we actually going to be able to put out damage with this artillery piece? Yeah, we can put shells wherever we want, but you've seen it. You try and fire over and over again, but players at this level, they know how to play against an artillery piece. They know how to be annoying to take a hit. They know how to make it as inconvenient as possible. Although here's something inconvenient. Marsh goes up for his opening scout run, takes 760. No, a little bit more. He's at 86 hit points, and he's about to go down. Barely escapes with his life. Still spotted. Could even take some damage.
X-Soldier is about to get caught out in the forest.
Oh,
they're going to come around. They're going to find him.
This is not good for top tier. They're going to lose X-Soldier. Return fire, though. I'm liking this. Dark Ninja takes almost all of his hit. Mr. Man down to 700 and bails.
And Pompous down to 234. He goes down. That's 2 tanks down for top tier, but they're finding damage onto Muriel as well. And Aquatic M60s going with the raw aggression and getting the better of it so far, and they're going to take this moment to disengage.
Yeah, however, look at this. This I think was not planned truly by anyone. This is an accident. This is both teams realizing they're so close that they should just attack each other. But you know what? They don't. They actually kind of fumble it, go for a little more aggression than they should, and everyone loses in the end. Because look at the hit points. You get 8,300 for top tier, 9,511 for aquatic. Really all this was just like boxers just running into each other and just kind of whacking each other in the face a little bit. It didn't really solve anything. It didn't change anything. No one's ahead for it too much. But everyone's just a little bit beat up over it, you know?
Right. Well, but there's 2 tanks down off the field for top tier now, which is a huge problem, though.
Yeah, but there's a bunch of tanks like Mr. Man, Marsh, and Bales and Dark Ninja, which are that much easier to remove. And that's what I'm looking for to see if those tanks will prove to be kind of pitfalls for them. Will they fall through because of their lack of hit points and the need to kind of, keep their defense going? Look at the spread from aquatic. They can't support each other in many areas of the map. One concentrated attack right now by top tier, they don't know it, but a concentrated attack could yield some results and get them their final win.
Yep, and the TVP of Mr. Man, who's still alive somehow on 358, he's actually down in the backfield covering the mouse in the IS-4, as these 2 almost full HP mouses for top tier push into this village, and these Batchats need to be careful not to be too complacent while these mouses may just push past.
Maybe so. They're going to start that cap. Artie's got the covers on this position, and actually we might see M4043 shall rain in on an IS-4 in just a moment. And there we go. Little damage on the exits you can see in the top right corner as he is in the view of Rude Awakening's Artie. IS-4 reaches out in the open. Let's see if this will connect. This could change things. Goes over.
Straight over.
Yep. All right. Rox, I want to take a listen in with top tier as they take this attack, as they try to hold on and pick up their final win. It's unlikely. Aquatic should be able to, but let's see what happens.
Get on this side. Get on this side.
Okay. Do you find the team?
Next one for you. Next one for you.
Yeah.
Just focus him. Focus him.
Get up. Yeah, it's fine. It's okay. It's okay. Keep focusing. Keep focusing. Fight to the end.
Oh, here's
Kill the bats. Kill the bats. Kill the bats.
Nah,
That's fine.
We needed to win the field.
Nah, I missed too many of my shots in the engagement.
It was a 4v5.
We joined him just to the latest possible moment. Sorry about that, audience. I was hoping to catch him when they were trying to get ready for that hold. But it looks like the focus was there. Rude knew the possibility existed for victory, but that it was thin, and he kept fighting for it. He kept his team focused on victory. Now, they understand that it's over. Get yourselves under control. Reset.
And now Aquatic M60s get the chance to go on to mines to make their final hold.
Oh, look at this. 2, 1. Is he loaded? Does he load in time?
No.
And he gets it.
Yeah. Oh, he does.
Rude gets the TD mode. Aha! Just a little style point to throw in there at the end. And that's going to be it. Aquatic holds on, puts their second point on the board, and starts their journey back into the series. Or, well, to see if they can make it. Or if they get, completely...
Some really bold plays there coming out of Aquatic M60s, going for that forest push, running into those tanks and taking the trades and just going for it. And they managed to get the better of the trades. They didn't lose any. They took 2 Batchats down. And from that point, it was relatively comfortable. They didn't overreact, but they didn't underreact. They kind of kept the right distance. They had their guns together. They were all on the same page, and I really like to see that out of M60s.
I totally agree with that one. It was I really felt like it could have gone either way after the first engagement, because to me it looked like the kind of thing where it was both teams really didn't think they were about to run into a significant force. It seemed like both teams were expecting to catch something out, right? Even with all this spotting, I think that ex-soldier underestimated the force that was out there in front of him. He gets taken down for it. Pompous, I don't know why they decided to continue aggressing on the side of top tier.
Well,
I think that on the side of aquatic, it makes a lot more sense to take that engagement.
Once top tier spotted that first Batchat, other than the RU, they should have known something was up. Why they decided to sit there and try to possibly take that engagement?
Yeah.
I mean, it's like their other Batchats were there, so I get it. So they had 4 tanks there, but they had an artillery plus 2 mouses that were nowhere near that side of the map. So
yeah, it's one of those situations where you could have come out ahead, but your opponent did decide to, they did make the correct decisions, right?
Right.
They they didn't fumble that aspect of the play. They knew what they were doing, you knew what you were doing, and yes, there was risk. There was potential rewards as well. And Top Tier knew this could be the final battle. So if we stay aggressive, especially with that pressure on, that's one of the scenarios where you see teams make those crucial mistakes, right? When you're down in a series, one more loss and you're out.
Yep.
And your opponent just won't stop coming at you.
And I've said this before. We're going on to Mines right now, which some of you may remember. Last season, M60s had a 17-2 record on Mines last season. They were near untouchable. Their only loss came to Apex, I believe.
Yeah, and because of that, this should be a comeback for Aquatic. Now,
they have to win 3 straight to get here to our live finals. That's not an easy task.
Yeah, and, well, they've just gotten number 2 on the board, so they just need 2 more wins. It's a tiebreaker. All right, we go to Prohorovka. The fastest win is something that we'll have to check on, but that will determine who gets size and possibly out of Aquatic and Top Tier, if this goes to a tiebreaker, who's going to win in the end.
All right, well, that's enough talk for now. Let's see if Aquatic M60s can turn this around as we head into what could be our final map of the series.
Mines, a small summertime map with lots of hills, rocks and other cover. The teams start the battle in the usual locations, but the base sleds are different. One is located in the bottom part of the village, and the other one is in the water. One of the key objectives is the center hill. That's why the teams will often select fast vehicles and tanks with strong turrets for cover.
And here we go into battle number 7. Top Tier, 2 Mouses, 3 Batchats, a TVP, and an RU-251. Aquatic M60s are going to try to hold on defense right now with an IS-4, a Mouse, a Type 5, 2 Batchats, an E4, and an M40-43.
All right, little arty, but nothing on the side from Top Tier. It makes a little bit of sense on attack, but how do you feel about when your opponent brings an artillery piece and you don't on mines?
Depends on what side you're on. On offense, it's actually not as big a deal, though you still have to make sure that you're kind of moving around, especially on the hill. That's the one thing that area really controls, or that Artie really controls, is that south end of the hill.
Oh, look at this opening damage. Dark Ninja actually lost his ammo rack, has to burn his kit on the high ground. And this is one of the things, sorry, we'll jump subjects real quick. Again, okay, I didn't see that coming. Felix just deleted Maril.
What?
Felix just deleted Maril. I don't even know where he was. I'm gonna just go find. Here he is. Oh, Maril.
Hey, and that's exactly what I was just talking about.
Come on, Maril. What were you doing there? This is the spot where everyone dies against Artie.
That's the exact spot I was just talking about. If you're on defense with Artie, this is the one spot that you're counting on Artie to counter out. And Maril just shows us why. It's so close. The shell travel time's so quick, and that's one of the most common spots we see tanks get one-shotted.
The thing is, the curvature of that mountain, that hill, it feels when you're a medium player on the top there, it just drags you in. You just want to cuddle up close right there, just get warm, just like, oh, nice safe mountain. You'll keep me safe, mountain.
Go towards the light, Randall. Go towards the light.
2 years ago you kept me safe until they patched you, and now I keep thinking you will, but it's all a lie. It's all a lie. You're just there so I can just be waiting to catch Artie shells.
And Rude Awakening takes a shot.
Oh, nice catch.
For 749. I believe that was from Marsh, maybe, or the Artie. I couldn't see.
He's been firing up against Marsh, and also I think Artie was looking that way. Also, Morphic was as well.
Yep, and this is looking great for Aquatic M60s. They need to win back-to-back games to force overtime. And they're on track right now with this defense.
Delph looks like he's going for the classic little Batchat jump, and just barely isn't going to make it. Shell goes out from Mr. Man in the Type 5, and just a little too soon, and it sneaks past him.
And Morphic just hugging this rock down here in the south. Delph's going to make another approach at the climb.
Is he going to make this one? I don't know if you want to make this jump sometimes.
He doesn't have enough speed.
No,
he barely gets in there.
Just kind of glides up.
Takes a shot.
Oh, did Mr. Man just miss again?
I believe that was Morphic that got the shot there.
Yeah, Mr. Man in the Type 5 just wasn't able to get that connection. That hurts a lot. That's not fun. Type 5 really wants a connection here because
now that's going to be a 1v1 to keep an eye on. Delph versus Ninja, both at around 800 HP, so a relatively even fight.
Not bad. Let's see how that pans out later on. Mr. Man's not going to be effective against that high ground any longer, and so he's going to turn his tank around and face more towards the middle.
But
Where?
guess what? There's no Artie for top tier, so he can sit right there up against that side next to where the mouse is and be relatively safe.
Exactly. He can just chill out there forever. And guess what? The Bat Chat up top is going to have trouble making any kind of a play against him. Dark Ninja's got an advantage against Delth, because look at this. 374. Well, Delth is now at 502. 2 shells left, and he goes down. Now, that Bat Chat is Artie safe. So up on the east side, he can't take anything from an Artie. But at the same time, he shouldn't be able to win against Dark Ninja. Dark Ninja should be able to beat him out. And top tier is going to need to figure something out if they want to win on the east side of this map. If they want that Bat Chat to actually make use of himself, it's going to be tricky. And actually, Aquatic could shift their Artie to the west, couldn't they? They could actually probably get.
Would be a little bit risky, but yes, they certainly could.
You could get away with it, surely. I mean, there's no one spotting exactly those positions, and you've got the coverage. If anyone were to pop out and try and take him down, you could probably time it right to, posture up, kind of, just puff up your chest, throw a mouse up there, and just kind of wiggle at him for a second, distract him while the Artie moves across.
Yeah,
if they get the kill, punish for it.
Yeah, it's not out of the realm of possibility. However, it's still a risk, no matter what. You're still relying on shots being landed and trades going out. And if you don't have to make that trade, sitting there questioning whether or not it's worth it at that point in time is another question. Meanwhile, Feel My Potato going to kite these mouses around. They're going to look for some shots on Feel My Potato. Morphic going to get cover fire from the backfield. And now the push is going to come out from the Bat Chats down the one line. Morphic tries to get a shot, doesn't land it. Bales takes some damage. And top tier trying to open up this defense.
Yes, they are. Sending X-Soldier to the west side is probably one of the most appropriate moves. It takes a lot of those turrets that are facing north, forces them to start looking a little bit towards the west, distracts Artie in that respect as well. And here's where you need to see top tier make the opening, right? They need to find that isolated tank and take him down. But they don't really have that advantage of it anywhere, do they? There's no real opening for top tier to come in, is there?
Yeah, no, there really isn't. And this Type 4, actually, or not Type 4, but this IS-4 getting some shots off towards the Kako, and now the heavy tanks are getting real aggressive on this hill towards these Type 4s. As the Bat Chats down south, they're kind of keeping each other busy.
Yeah, this is the point where Aquatic realizes they have some kind of an advantage, right? They need to kind of go for the win. If they wait, they're just giving their opponent more time to figure out a plan and execute, right?
And Marsh taking a lot of damage. He's down to a one-shot. Bale's taking a shot as well in the Bat Chat.
Sure, it hurts. Okay, fine. But look at it. 11,000 hit points versus the 6,600 of top tier. Right now, it's in favor of Aquatic. Aquatic has this. Aquatic is in control.
And Bale's taking shots from Pompous in that TVP, and that's a tank down for Aquatic M60s, and this game isn't over yet.
Okay, I'm just saying, you say that, Delth is not. There's no way Delth did this. Delth just killed Dark Ninja. Okay. Delth just killed Dark Ninja, Rockstar. That is the crucial win that I didn't expect to happen. Delth came up to the top of that mountain with 3 shells worth of hit points left against a Bat Chat. A Bat Chat that was reasonably healthy. He just won that. He just got that kill, and now high ground control is going to top tier. This means that eventually they can just take Artie out. This means that you've got fire coming in from an alternate angle that you cannot respond against. This is good for top tier. Aquatic can still win. They still should win. But yes, top tier still is in the game, I guess you could say.
Pomp is looking for a shot over that ridge. Mouse is backing up back and forth here, trying to echelon to find some shots towards Feeling Potato and Mr. Man.
Here we go. Morphic might start taking damage from Delth. That's a possibility.
Big HE shot there on Dog Hako. And M60's still up by about 4,000 HP.
2 shells out from Delth. Looks like a decent amount of damage into Morphic, and they're going to start whittling him down. Now, X-Soldier can also start peeking in, although look at that. Hako's going down.
But and Felix gets the HE fire onto exits. And that's 2 tanks down back-to-back for top tier. So M60s are now hanging on here.
By a thread.
By a little bit of a thread. They have a lot of HP, and guns are now back in their favor. But that was looking sketchy, to say the least.
And there's 1 minute and 54 seconds left, guys. This is this could still go to top tier. They can still deal the damage. Aquatic can also still hold on. They can still get the kills that they need. And top tier must win in order to get points. If this goes to time, Aquatic gets to put another point on the board. It's the important note. And with autoloaders, this is a TVP and 2 bat chats, Rox. These are tanks which don't consistently fire. They have to disengage, reload, and then re-engage. Meaning, once they've dealt that damage, there's a bit of a lull. And you can see that right now, as Delth is on reload, Pompous has just gotten himself off of reload. And oh,
but
look at
he's
this.
now spotted.
Feel My Potatoes out in the open, taking damage from the high ground. That's our bat chat. Another one. Can he get 2 more out? 1 more, and that would be a significant amount of damage, but he's going to back off with 1 extra, and Pompous looks like he might be able to take down. Yes, that is the Type 5 out. And now with IS-4 Morphic, Marsh in the E4, Felix in an artillery piece.
50 seconds left.
And Feel My Potato in a mouth.
This isn't over.
This
is not over yet.
I don't think it's possible to deal the damage and cover the distance at this point. At this point, Aquatic should have it.
The TP is going to push in here and get the kill.
Solid play. Ex-Soldier's going to move in now against Marsh and against Morphic. Problem here is Ex-Soldier's pinched between 2 tanks.
He bounces another. And the Morphic's going to come off the reload here in a second. He should pick up the kill.
That's going to be it. He gets
there we go. And now he can move around to the water side if he wants. He takes the damage from Delth up on the hill. He's going to turn to angle his armor. 10 seconds left. That's all M60s have to hold on for. Delth is going to come in here to try to find the artillery, but has to be careful not to kill himself as he slides down the hill. And Morphic picks up Pompous, though.
Oh, and a missed TD mode by Felix. Delth is at the very least. No, Delth doesn't get to kill Felix. Artie gets to live yet another day. And Aquatic M60s hold on for 1 more.
Wow.
1 more, Rux. If they win 1 more time on mines, they are coming back from a 4-1 deficit all the way to tie it up. And if we go to a tiebreaker, it's going to be on Prohorovka. We've got 1 more on mines, though. And this entire battle was just... This was a scenario that looked like it wasn't going to work for top tier. And you know what? I got to give them a ton of credit because they made it farther. They made this closer than I ever thought they would be against Aquatic, who's playing tighter and tighter as the series goes long. Something they're known for, by the way, which is longer series.
And M60s just making that harder than it needed to be, but managing to hold on there. But that was the easy part. Now they have to attack on mines.
Exactly. Yeah, this is tricky. This can certainly fall short, but 1 bold, risky play early on. Take control, dictate the pace. You are Aquatic M60s. They can bring this to a tiebreaker.
And look at the damage Delth did. Once again, I think that's for the 2nd time tonight, doing over 5k damage. 1 kill and 85 fantasy points. Pompous, the TVP, another 3,700 damage. Not bad. Muriel, the only one getting shut down that game, really, for top tier. Not really able to get into that fight, and understandably so, because Felix in that artillery had something else to say about that from the start.
Oh yeah, he did. Just completely deleted. That really hurts, and that's why Artie can be effective. Because yes, one full connection, 1 full pen on an HE shell, and the bat chat's gone. That's it. A whole tier 10. 1 of your 7 guys is just gone. And that changes everything because you could have been depending on that player for a crucial spot.
And the craziest thing is top tier almost clawed into that game.
Yeah.
They almost turned that around despite losing a full tier 10.
If there had been more time in the clock, maybe. Because they started to speed it up and play risky. If they'd had just more time and they could have slow played it, yes. Which says you probably should have been trying to get into that fight or make those gains a little bit sooner. Had the jump been made the first time, right? Had our bat chat from top tier been able to get into the high ground on the east, the first try around, that's a whole minute shaved off, right? That's a whole minute maybe of dealing damage that otherwise wasn't happening.
Yeah, and the lineup that we're about to see coming out of both these teams.
Oh, man. Rock.
Definitely some eyebrow raisers in there.
As we're about to get, I think we're about to head straight into it. This is going to be the last time we're going to see mines for a little while.
Can top tier get the 5th and final win that they need to secure their spot to our live finals, or can M60s force overtime? We're 10 minutes away from finding out. Top tier 2-1-13s, 4 bat chats, a T-54 lightweight. Meanwhile, Aquatic M60s have to keep their heads above water right now. a mouse, 2 batch chats, a TVP, an STRV 103B, a Leopard PTA, the Tier 9, and the M5355. Once again, top tier, not bringing any artillery on mines.
Yep, that's an important thing to note. It's going to be arty versus not. This is something that top tier's been doing here and there, and say what you will about it. Their results early in the series were fine. Later on, things are starting to slow down. Maybe that changes. And you know what? Aquatic M60s is going to do what I was thinking, and that's it. Early aggression. Do not waste time getting into position so that you do not get defeated by the clock. Yes, a little damage is dealt, but think about this. We're going to go to a listen-in with Aquatic M60s as they get into the fight.
There we go.
One battle.
Sandy, get low, and just go to cap now. Go to cap. Hey, don't bleed down here, guys, don't bleed down.
They have a bet on hill.
Zay plus.
Okay, just get Dandy on cap.
Marsh, you have shots on 54?
I mean, all they'll have for resets is like a bat shack here. That's the only thing they can get there.
I'm not loaded yet, though.
If you have 1-2, they're going to kind of push K-line or push hard.
Well, he's going to be there, so just shoot.
Only 2
if
options.
you don't have better shots.
I am late.
Shot out on 54. What? Should have splashed him some. I don't know how much.
We need to hold our HP down here, boys.
Okay, guess not.
Nice flash. Nice.
Careful, Bills.
Nice.
Nice, good.
Reload.
I'm with. They have a guy here. They have a bat shack here.
Yes.
Yeah, I got
Somebody splashing.
113.
I mean, dude, you know the shot's better than anyone.
Yeah.
So.
Well, work for Artin and work for Artin. They don't have really resets on
They don't have good
mines,
resets. We have to be careful of the K-line YOLO. K-line YOLO or North YOLO. Those are the 2 things we have to be afraid of.
I'm going to be spotting K-line.
North.
I'm be dead. Unless,
okay.
Help me with this bad shot.
TVP help.
Nice. That's good, that's really
Seconds
good.
on
Minus 2 maybe from
I have shots.
I just hit a bat chat right here on the corner. I just hit him on the corner.
Tracked.
He's backing up. He's out there. Yeah, he just knocked down the tree.
Nice.
6 seconds.
Okay, another bat.
Bat.
Do we have to take this south?
Their bat here is low.
I'm reloading.
Gone.
I'm reloading.
I think go south now.
How many shots do you have, Dark?
I have 3.
They're pushing.
Should we push? We need to make a decision.
Yeah, we got to
113
push.
pushing north.
Let me wait. I have the HP.
Okay.
I can try to shot down the bat.
You need to get forward and Indy.
Batch it on the hill mine.
Ex-soldier?
Minus 1 exploded.
113 shot me. Okay, Morel won't have shocks.
I don't really have anything because I'm looking for the bat.
Hold it.
What do you want me doing?
Wait.
You gotta get damage on
I
something.
have 1 shell.
Hey.
Invite me.
113 shot me on 1 shot.
How many shells do you have, Bells?
Full. We cannot.
They'll have someone.
Yeah, they have.
Can we light that bat for Marsh?
I'm stuck behind the rock because there's a bat right next to me.
Try to cross if you can.
1-on-3 is just gonna bully me.
Because we gotta get that bat out, man.
Looking for Pompous.
We're gonna have to get ex-soldier. So.
Pompous.
I can try to cross to the rock bales, maybe.
M60s are holding on here, but this is not looking good. The 113 in their backfield, and Murillo with a full clip up on the hill. Felix gonna push in, trying to open this up.
And he's actually gonna pull the gun from Ex-Soldier just long enough. Ex-Soldier does put a shell out, but Dark Ninja gets the connection and the kill. And now 4 tanks alive for top tier Pompous. Barely alive. He has 77 hit points. 1 connection will finish him, and that comes from Veggie.
And that just turned this game over. All of a sudden, this is looking doable for M60s. They still have 6 guns alive. Akako taking some damage from Feel My Potato. A lot's going to come down to Feel My Potato in that mouse. He has to use his armor well. He has to bully this 113 out before these batch heads can get in here.
But look at that. Akako sneaks one into Veggie in the TVP, and that's going to be a gun off the battlefield. They need to get Dark Ninja. They need to get Felix and Bales out of here before they're able to...
And Felix has a shot on Akako. He's looking for it. Akako trying to stay safe. Felix going to snap one off. He doesn't get connection.
Slips just over right next to his turret even, before just barely missing. And Marsh, who has stayed alive, by the way, when otherwise many artillery pieces would have been dead by now.
And Muriel, the full health bat chat for for top tier, pushing in the backfield here. He's gonna find Felix. Felix is a two-shotter.
Zeroes the target, fires one on the move, takes a risk. Second one's gonna connect, and he's gonna barely slip in the last one. He's got 2 shells left. Those can be saved for Marsh 166, or if he decides another target. But where is Marsh?
Potato takes down Akako. Already puts a shot onto Muriel. And this is back and forth stuff. HP almost even. 2 tanks left alive for top tier. 4 alive for Aquatic AM60s, but HP is literally even right now.
Just about as close as you could expect. His exit's going to be able to back off. I like this. Good play. But here's the thing. Aquatic AM60s, because of this, gets to kind of reconnoiter. They get to lay it out again, focus up, set up new positions. Because of that, top tier knew where some of these tanks were, or at least got the idea of the general area. Dark Ninja spotted in the open, and exits, misses. Next one, not going to be able to find the target. Exits is going to need to back off. And here's a chance. Artillery could rein in, get a hit onto exits, and that's over. Shell out, and 151 near, but not on the target.
But now Muriel knows the Artie just fired, so he can close, and this Artie's completely exposed.
Oh, Exits is playing this so risky. He's just backing off, peeking out, getting himself spotted, making sure his opponent knows exactly where it is. Why? Because they needed to find where Marsh was, right?
And Muriel's going to come around. He's going to put a shot into Marsh. He's going to track him. Marsh is going to repair it, try to back up. He doesn't get it, though, and 3 guns left alive for Aquatic AM60s. 1,200 HP. Can they hold on to force overtime, or a top tier about to secure their spot to the live finals?
Yeah, and on the cap, there's nothing on the cap. The thing is, the pressure's not going to be there from Aquatic. They're not going to set that timer. And so top tier, because of that, with 3 minutes on the clock, can look at other options to try and delay. For example, this. Look at Exits right now. Where is he heading? Up to the northeast, Rox. He's going to go for the jump, I'm guessing, or he's just going to kind of stow himself back there. I'm not sure which one it is, but you know what? It could just work out as an ambush, as Dark Ninja is heading that way right now.
Yep, and Exits.
Oh, if he spots this.
He's a high roll away from dying. 442 is unlikely, but very possible. And Dark Ninja doing the climb perfectly first time?
Oh, we never see this climb.
We've seen it a couple times, but not recently.
I don't remember seeing it in a pro match at all.
Yeah, we've seen Canadian Impact do it.
Oh, he does?
Yeah.
Oh, okay.
And Dark Ninja.
Did he almost flipped himself right there? Oh no, I think he doesn't realize he's on the cap, and this is what top tier probably is expecting, right? This is what you're going.
They don't know where they are. Dark Ninja just floating around in the open, and no one's there to cover him.
If Exits knocks over the tree next to him, because you can't see it very well right now, but I'll zoom out. There's a tree right next to Exits, and look at this. If he knocks that over, that tree is actually going to tell Dark Ninja, because he's a good player.
And Muriel's going to get spotted taking the hill. Potato's going to back up.
Exits finds Dark Ninja. He takes a shell. Dark Ninja doesn't. And now it's a one-on-one. Whoever gets the first shell out, it could even be a simultaneous kill. Whatever happens, happens. But Muriel even moves in. Muriel's got the flank. Dark Ninja is going to have his gun pulled, but Bales is on the high ground. Shell goes out. Connection.
But Dark Ninja picks it up.
And now Dark Ninja looks. Muriel gets the kill. And now it's Feel My Potato versus Muriel. Muriel is 1 shell from death. He has 86 hit points.
Feel My Potato can't cap right now. This is top tier about to walk away with 86 HP to get their win to make the series 5-3.
And
but Muriel's playing mind games. He thinks Feel My Potato turned around.
No. He's in the open. He doesn't realize if he's caught out.
5 seconds. Oh!
No, he stops. Muriel's behind a building. It's okay. But he knows Feel My Potato is loaded. And here's the tricky part. There's just enough distance that if Feel My Potato just decides to just drive at Muriel, he could catch just enough momentum. There's a chance he could kind of get onto the right side of the building and get the connection that he needs. He just needs to go wide enough to not get proxy spotted before he goes around that corner.
Muriel doesn't know which way.
Yeah, he can't know. He has to look for context clues. Trees getting knocked down.
He doesn't know where Feel My Potato is. He's lit.
He can't see him. That's because
Feel My Potato. He's going to do it!
And Aquatic,
he gets the win!
Aquatic AM60s holds on, ties up the series. And I'm going to have to wait for word from our admin to tell us who's going to get call of the tiebreaker. This is going to Prohorovka. And that's it. Okay, recap the series. First battle, Aquatic M60s picks up a win. Second, Top Tier turns it around and picks up their own. But not only did they pick up a win on battle number 2, they made that then 3 more to bring it up to a 4-1 lead. And now Aquatic M60s has just come back from that and has tied up the series. And that is as close as you can get. That is it. The one-on-one at the end, and the only thing that could have changed is Muriel just needed to, if he looked left instead of right, if he just went forward instead of back, if that, just arbitrary little things that he could have done could have changed the entire battle. That could have been a win for Top Tier. They just barely let it get away. Because
that mouse, Feel Potato,
yep,
he had one play to make. He only had one opportunity because once he closed distance, Muriel could have ran circles around him.
Yeah.
Once he got unlit, he knew he had to pick one direction and stick to it. And somehow he lit the bat chat around that corner before he got spotted.
That's what I was talking about when I was looking at it, because the situation is this. If you approach directly at the building and then you try and pick a direction because you proxy spot your enemy, that's not as good as just going. Because here's the thing. What do you expect your opponent to do? Take a cautious, well-measured approach to defeat you, right? I will then take a cautious, well-measured approach to counterplay him. But when your opponent does things which don't fit into the normal realm of options, that's why it's said that amateurs are more dangerous than professionals many times. Because guess what? Just like the APAC teams a lot of times at our global finals, you throw something at your opponent that doesn't add up normally to them. But you do that deliberately. You do it tactically, and it pays off.
Yep, and Aquatic M60s actually didn't get the tiebreaker choice. It was actually went to Top Tier, and they're choosing to defend on Prokhorovka. This is one final battle to decide which of these two teams is going to join us here for our live finals to keep playing on for that $325,000 prize pool.
Oh, sorry. Look at that replay right there. I loved seeing that. Muriel gets the kill at the same time as Batchat, but guess what? Who's faster? One who knows to look to the side and paying attention to his surroundings. Fortunately, Muriel's not able to keep that one up. Gets maybe in his own head, you know? And this. I just want to watch this moment one more time.
Oh
man.
What a game.
That was just...
What a game.
Yeah. That's something that we're going to hold on to for a while. Probably revisit a few times at the season finals even. But look at the post-battle stats. Here's the thing. Marsh stayed alive longer than I honestly think Top Tier should have let him, right? He was in that backfield, pinned down.
Yep, he should have gone down a lot sooner. And to be fair, Marsh didn't really capitalize on staying alive for as long as he did because he should have gotten a couple more connections after that point, especially on Dog Hako.
Yeah.
And that could have made that game a bit easier for M60s just because Top Tier gave him the opportunity for him to stay alive.
But you heard him on comms, right?
Yep.
He believed that he would have gone down had he peeked out. And that was his choice. From our perspective, we could tell that he was safer to continue doing his work. But as far as he knew, there was a bat chat waiting for him to fire in order to just run in there and get a kill with zero risk.
Yep. Well, we are ready for our last battle of the playoffs. Let's see what happens.
Prokhorovka, one of the first maps in the game. Teams start at the regular spawn points as they do in standard battles. Bases are separated from each other by the railway, so the defending team has to choose whether to send their vehicles to the left side, playing them in the centre, or to the right of the railway, occupying the hill and a part of the village. The attacking team usually attacks the first base. However, the teams often go for face-to-face confrontations, 7-on-7, in the hilly terrain at the centre. That's why both teams frequently use vehicles with good gun depression angles and sturdy turrets.
And Top Tier, an IS-7, a Mouse, 3 Batchats, an STRV 103B, and an RU 251. Aquatic M60s, an IS-7. Feel My Potato playing that Mouse once more. 3 Batchats, an STRV 103B, and an RU 251.
So it's going to be a mirror matchup.
Once again.
It's a cherry on top for your playoffs, ladies and gentlemen. They're just going to say, you know what? Bring the same tanks. Whoever's better wins. And we're going to go to a listen-in with Aquatic M60s as they begin their attack.
So I'd give it like a 2 out of 10.
That's good.
Yeah, that's too nice out of you.
It's better than the 1 out of 10 that I thought.
I'm lit. So they did something here.
Are you?
Kick the shit out of him.
That's
tank up at A6. Batchat's -1. You gotta pick that bat. He's gonna kill me. They're blowing down my houses. Okay, this guy's -3. This guy's
Yeah, we need to go. Let's go.
The S tank is up here.
STRV. Bad shot -1.
X-Soldier. I'm coming. Hurry
I
up,
keep Del's left. I keep Del's
Soldier.
Focus, guys, focus. Please. Nice. X-Soldier, reloading. X-Soldier,
You have
one
him,
more.
Veggie.
I could get him.
Nice. Reload.
I7. Do we want to keep control here with the I7 or no?
No, we want to get the
I'm getting
I7 down.
shot by the
This back.
Mario.
We want to use the IS-7 in the water.
My gun is damaged, by the way.
Where do you want me to rotate, Felix?
I think we need to get one of the bats up high.
Yeah, because I can't go.
Dark, you want to go up there? You want me to go up
Yeah, no, go. The mouse needs to go here.
Felix, you want me to go in
Yes, we need the bat up at A0, and then Marsh can push up the water because their bat is still here.
Oh, mouse. SUV.
SUV.
Their bat is still on the A?
He has to
not
be at
sure.
A, dude.
Yeah, he has to be.
Couldn't have gone out.
Minus 800 HP maybe?
Yeah, something like that.
Yeah, he's at about 1,000.
Be careful, Veggie. Be careful. We can get lit. Don't shoot whatsoever. Just try to spot through the bushes.
Trying, I'm not getting anything.
No.
My gun is damaged.
I can't spot him really. Well, I have to be exposed to the STRV to spot him.
Okay, can somebody cover the SUV?
All right, and you can see it right there. Rude Awakening slipping into the backfield and able to spot Mr. Man, taking him down to half hit points. A moment ago, it looked like Aquatic was in a comfortable but very slight lead, a bit of control over their opponent. And now there's an RU. Rude Awakening's probably going to pick himself up.
And a bounce on Marsh. Marsh trying to find Fixer reloaded.
On the other side of the map, IS-7 versus a Bat Chat. And yeah, this
he's a one shot.
He has only one shell, too.
It's a high roll. Now are you taking damage? The HP so close, but about 1,500 in favor of top tier. Marsh trying to pull forward, making sure the shot counts. 490, he rolls average. But now, there it is. Veggie picks it up. And now that frees up Marsh to get in here.
A little risky plays right there. RU in the back. I'm watching to see what he's able to do. Veggie, yeah, I wondered if he was about to drown there for a moment. He's able to stay alive. Pompous in the 103B is still at full hit points, but he's all alone. No support there for him. And I'm worried that if he can't get out of that position, move around and get some support, it's delicate.
The backfield's open now that Rude, where'd Rude disappear to?
Rude?
Oh, he's still in the backfield. Never mind, he's still in the backfield.
Yep, Rude's about to actually take the high ground, which Mr. Man's not exactly in control of. He's not quite on top of the hill anymore. So actually, Rude Awakening could use that as a good vantage point to actually deal a significant amount of damage. He could take down Dark Ninja. Dark Ninja's in a spot where Rude could probably sneak 2 shells in, get reloaded for a reasonable response. Oh no, look, Mr. Man! He decides to move to the top of the hill at the wrong time. Rude Awakening is waiting there for him. Support fire comes at the right time in the right place, and there is the major damage-dealing tank for Aquatic off the battlefield. This is looking like it's about to end. Top tier could close this one out if they stay strong. Aquatic can hold on. It's getting thinner, though.
And Rude picks up the kill onto Marsh from the hill.
It's ever closer. 3 tanks alive. Mouse, 2 Bat Chats. There's a lot of options.
And Dark Ninja trying to get in here to find Rude. Try to open this up. They're down by about 2,000 HP.
Dark Ninja wants to try and climb, but the most frustrating thing in the world.
Feel my potato. Taking a lot of damage.
Dark Ninja's wasting time trying to get into position. Finally gets up and over. And with that, yeah, Rude's going to keep being able to deal damage. And look at it. One more shot on to Feel My Potato, and it's over. And there he goes. Rude Awakening into RU251, getting that connection. We're going to have to look at the damage and the stats he pulls at the end of this one. That was a Tier 8 light tank taking down a mouse.
Yep, and it's going to be down to Veggie and Dark Ninja for Aquatic AM60s trying to hold on here. Dark Ninja in the backfield trying to find some shots, but Akako still has full HP, and he is not one to misuse that HP. No. Great heavy tank player. Rude's closing the distance as well. Dark Ninja doesn't know where they are. He's creeping forward ever so slightly.
And he has a high ground position. If this is something top tier can fumble, they can mess this one up, is the way I would describe it. That's about as much as you could hope for if you're Aquatic right now. You're hoping that your opponent top tier doesn't take you seriously.
And the bounce onto Delph. Dark Ninja has one left. He fires it blind. but that's going to leave Veggie to fend for himself as Dark Ninja is going to start his reload and drive away.
Yeah, Veggie's pinned. They don't realize that he has only one shell left, so there is that. There is Dark Ninja being as mobile as he is, and Rude Awakening being a small, very light, not very healthy tank. Rude could be dealt with easily, but the thing is, Veggie's not going to be able to stand on his own, is he? He can't.
No, he's a one-shot Batchat. He's going to die here as soon as gets... Oh, and Pompous gets the ram.
And look at this. 3 minutes and 30 seconds left in the battle. Dark Ninja has one mission, and that is this. Stay alive and get resets on Cap. That's it. If he can do that, he can win. Then Aquatic can go to the finals. Sorry, yeah. Aquatic, is on attack.
They're attacking.
I am so embarrassed by that one. I just got him.
Kako misses a shot, and that's going to allow Dark Ninja to get some more shots off.
Oh, God. It's the other way around. You're attacking Aquatic. You have to get some serious kills here. He has to. I think he needs to ammo rack the
ice. And Kako picks up the kill and secures it for Top Tier. Top Tier are going to be the fourth and final team coming to our live finals. They will join Elevate, Eclipse, Dare Rising, and now Top Tier. The 4 teams that are finals.
Here for our finals. All right. And you know what? That was close. Top tier had a rough time getting that win in the end. They started early very well. Much better than we even expected. Picking up a win after an initial loss. But they had match point all the way to that tiebreaker, and they just weren't able to do it. They were trying and trying.
AM60s held on.
Yeah.
And it looked good early on for them here. They got these Batchats down. The problem was they kind of fumbled things after this point. They got in here, they get the Batchats down, but the momentum stalls out. Top Tier takes the position with the heavy tanks in the middle, and they didn't use their flexibility to open up the map.
Well, and also look at this. The focus fire is good from Aquatic, but you have to look at Top Tier's positions. They were ready for this, and there was enough damage that Aquatic really didn't come out ahead of that fight. They really fell behind at that point. And from then on, the entire match was them trying to find another advantage because they were at the ever so slightest disadvantage, right? Because they're in the enemy territory. They have cap pressure to worry about and time. Everything's against them. And they just couldn't quite find that opening. Top Tier wouldn't give it to them. They almost did. They almost got too aggressive.
Yep, if anything out of M60s, I would like to see those Batchats may back out, go find Root earlier, open up the backfield, open up the map, because they only had the 2 heavy tanks and the S-tank left. But I digress because Pompous in this S-tank, 4,000 damage, finally having the big game tonight. He's been relatively quiet tonight.
And look at that RU-251 from Rude Awakening, picking up 84 fantasy points, 2,071 damage. A lot of that going into the mouse, middle of the map, helping out quite a bit, actually, in turning the tide.
Yep, and Bales had a pretty quiet game. He got focused out early on. Mr. Man had a really rough game in that S-tank, and Felix was out in front. Got picked off. Pompous putting up 2,600 damage. Much better night than I thought he had.
That was
520
average.
fantasy points.
On average, every single battle, that's how much damage he did. Almost 3K. That's something that used to be expected as kind of a fluke. Now it's just normal for him.
Yeah, puts up great numbers. As does X-Soldier, 456 fantasy points. Not bad. And Rude Awakening in that tier 8, doing great. And looking at the top fantasy players for the evening, Pompous, Delph, Rude in 3rd place. X-Soldier exits, Mr. Man, Akako, and so forth. So pretty good stuff there.
If you're playing fantasy and you stack Top Tier, you are in luck.
Yep, and
good
then Mako, Stark Ninja, Aggressor. A lot of great performers tonight. Some great matches that we have had, but only 2 could go on to our live finals.
Yep, and taking a look, this is an example of the bracket that we will have for our finals. You can see Top Tier Aquatic just happened. Top Tier will move on to play Elevate at our live finals, and Dare Rising against 07. Dare wins, and they will face Eclipse at our finals. That's 1st and 2nd of last season, 1st and 2nd again going into the finals for this season. See if we can see Top Tier or Dare Rising shake things up.
Yeah, definitely. So we'll have to see what they're able to do. One heck of a series. I'm still trying to catch my breath after that one.
Yep.
That was great.
Yeah, and actually, I think we're ready right now. We've actually got Rude back on Skype to talk about that win. Rude Awakening. Sir, that
was a roller coaster ride.
You play with my emotions, sir. You start that one off with a loss. It's a little rough on Himmelsdorf, but then you guys turn that around, and you get a bunch of wins all in a row. Ghost Town all the way into Muravanka. But what happened in Muravanka?
Mistakes happened. Look, I'll be honest. The one meeting no one would want to be in would be the next scrim of top tier.
I see. So that you're thinking based on this performance, there's going to need some changes in order for top tier?
No, but people are going to hear an earful. I will tell you guys that a tier 8, me, I'm not supposed to be doing the damage. I'm not supposed to be making the mistakes. Like, I'm the one who's supposed to be scouting and dying first, like most of the time. Today was a mess. We got off to a really good start. Obviously, one thing I have to say is, out of all the teams in this playoff, I actually really feared AM60s the most. I knew they're a damn good team.
Yeah,
damn good team.
They proved that. From what we were seeing against you guys, it was back and forth, and I couldn't really point out mistakes as much as it looked like one team or the other every single match was just making the play. It's what it looked like between the two of you guys, and that had to be tough to deal with, right?
Well, for them, I mean, I'll be honest, like, it's just a little tiny mistakes on our side, and if they already couldn't do like 4K damage per game, we would have been okay. But like, it made it so difficult. Whoever was playing Artie on that team today, they did a really good job at clicking.
Yeah, they did. They clicked their hearts out, and then. What about this? You've made it through all of that, and you get to the tiebreaker, and you manage to get the win. Good job on the RU play, by the way. That was great. How do you feel now? You've just earned your way to the finals. You just finally made it. How's that?
Well, I told my team when we went together, and I think I tried out like 20 different players for this team, maybe more. One thing I told this team is that from the very beginning, I said, I am not going to make any money. Like, the division of money will be me, 0%, unless we make the finals, the LAN finals. And I said that to my team, telling them that, yes, like, I'm all in, and I want them to be all in as well. And I just really hope that a lot of the mistakes, and I mean a lot of the mistakes, the rookie mistakes that were done today, get corrected.
Yep. Well, Root, overall, this is now I believe your second time coming to a live final. How does it feel to be back?
I look forward to having some drinks with you.
Fair enough.
All right, watch yourself. He's dangerous. He's a dangerous guy. All right, any final words?
See. Final
words for your fans and your supporters out there, Root, because that was a performance, sir.
Look, guys, we're a new team. We're getting better every week. We have up days, down days. Today was just a great competitor that we faced, and I'm really glad we came out on top.
Thank you so much, Rude. You are a gentleman and a scholar. It's always wonderful to have you on, and we will see you at the finals. See you in Burbank.
Thanks. See ya.
Yeah.